Varsity Sports Network here in the presentation of the Florida Gridiron Report. Bobby Latmore joined by Coach Dan LaForce, and it's just the two of us tonight, Dan. Oh, man, we got a big show, though, tonight.
Hey, everybody needs vacation time. Everybody, your normal cast of characters will be back in the future. So
no question about it. Coach Hayes on assignment. We threw him on assignment. He is going to be, still doing his stuff, what he does with the LPGA. Danny Noonan over there with the Caddyshack stuff, but always good stuff with our correspondents and our co-hosts. But Dano, you and I tonight, we got a big show tonight. Chris Hayes from the Orlando Sentinel Varsity Sports section, you're going to come talk to us a little bit about Central Florida football.
Yeah, and Chris is outstanding. He and JC Carnahan are pretty much the tag team champion, but Buddy Collins at the Orlando Sentinel. They cover high school sports in general like nobody else and have done a wonderful job in the Central Florida area. So we got an exclusive with Chris tonight with his insight into some of the key players that he's got his eye on and some of the other news that is really happening here in Central Florida.
Right. I mean, we got real deep in depth with Chris, so we'll have that interview coming up for you here in a few minutes, but also a very special presentation tonight with one of the local coaches that just got hired back at his alma mater, Travis Roland, former head coach at FPC, now the new head coach from Mainland. The Buccaneers over there in Daytona Beach is going to be joining us. And I'll tell you what, if you ever want to have some fun with a coach, this was tonight will be one of the times that we have it here in the Florida Gridiron Report. And I'll tell you what, we're going to have so much fun with Coach. He's so excited about being on with us tonight. He's watched our shows in the past. He knows what we're all about. So he's ready, willing, and coming on tonight.
Well, we finally found a fan, Bobby, and I think he's definitely one of them. And, Coach Roland is unique as well because, we've been talking the last several weeks about alumni coming back home, and he's one. He's a Buccaneer, and he's a Buccaneer for life. Yeah,
no question about it. We talked a lot about what he's going to be doing coming up here pretty soon, and you'll be able to see that coming up here on the Florida Gridiron Report. Man, I'm going to tell you what, Dan, with all Chris and with all Travis, we didn't have too much more left. It's going to be a great night tonight, but man, we're going to kick things off because we've got so much to talk about here on the Florida Gridiron Report. Hey, it's just me and Dan. It's the Bobby and Dan show here tonight on the Varsity Sports Network.
So let's get it done.
Don't go anywhere. We've got more of the Florida Gridiron Report coming up after this right here on the Varsity Sports Network.
The Florida Gridiron Report is brought to you by Security Financial Management, Gators Dockside Grill, the A-Team with Charles Ruttenberg Realty, and Sports Thread.
The best part of my job is helping people realize not only their dreams, but also their potential. My name is Dan LaForest, and I am a wealth advisor with Security Financial Management. No matter how good you may be at a skill, it's always important to have a coach to help you refine those skills and game plan for the next challenge. Helping clients realize the process will give them the confidence of knowing that we have taken the appropriate steps to protect themselves and their families.
Why did the golfer wear 2 pairs of pants? In case he got a hole in one.
Now that's what I call a rib tickler. And here's something else you'll get a kick out of. Come into Gators Dockside during Rib Fest and enjoy delicious fall-off-the-bone ribs, char-grilled to order in one of 5 amazing flavors. For wings, seafood, sports, and ribs, you know where to go. It's Rib Fest at Gators Dockside. Meet me at the dock.
Hi, I'm Angel Crowson, and I'm with the A-Team of Charles Ruttenberg Realty. We're located in delightful downtown DeLand, and we service all of Central Florida. Our team is here to serve you for all of your real estate needs, whether you're buying, selling, or looking to invest. There is no time like the present to sell your existing home and buy your new one with the A-Team. Call me, Angel Crowson, so the A-Team can deliver your dream today.
This is Sports Thread, and this is the new free Sports Thread app, changing recruiting forever.
Once again, here we go. Know the name, know the flow.
The first social network made for athletes, where you can show your talent.
Thought I was weak, huh? You ain't see the work I put in all week, huh?
And where you can be seen by athletes, fans, and coaches nationwide. Upload all your stats to the app. Get exposure to college coaches. Get clout. And get certified with a check mark that will change your life. Join the squad. Download the Sports Thread app today. Sports Thread, it's always free.
Welcome back, everybody, here to the Florida Gridiron Report here on the Varsity Sports Network. Bobby Latmore, Dan LaForest, and we are so honored to be joined by Chris Hayes of the Orlando Sentinel Varsity Sports section there for high school sports here across Central Florida. And Chris, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I know you've got a lot going on right now, especially with spring football coming back after a year. I want to start off with a question with you right now. Take us back to last year to when all this kind of started, when it all got canceled, how your feelings were, what was going on with y'all. And basically now that it's come back, tell us, give us a little bit of feelings about all that coming back after a pandemic year.
Well, obviously last year they knocked out spring completely, so there wasn't any recruiting. And a lot of those kids who usually hope to be seen in the spring, they weren't seen. And so they really, especially your tweener kids, your borderline kids who were going to get some FBS offers, maybe didn't get seen and they didn't know about them. So it was really difficult, a really difficult year for the 2021 class to get recruited unless you were one of those top guys. And then we go into this year, and yes, they have spring, but still the college coaches can't come to spring practice or spring games. And it's kind of a similar thing. So some of the kids are going to be behind the 8 ball again.
Well, at least one of the things is last season, even from a recruiting standpoint, a lot of the coaches were limited, or schools were limited to the number of scholarships they could give because of the fact they gave an additional year of eligibility to the current college roster. So hopefully that's something that's going to play itself out going in for the class of 2022, is more positions or more spots will be open for them, Chris.
Right. The problem with that, however, is that the colleges still have to get down after this year. They got to get down to their 85 scholarship limit. And that's going to affect a lot of guys who maybe get their scholarships pulled. I'm not sure, I can't speak for the coaches themselves and how they're going to pull it off, but it's really a tricky situation, especially with schools that went ahead and signed their usual 25 last February.
And with the seniors that were granted an extra year eligibility, that's difficult for a coach to put into perspective as far as how many kids do you keep on scholarship and how many don't you. So what's going on right now that you're hearing about, especially with our local colleges, about how these college coaches are handling that?
Well, for the most part, these guys, the college coaches, have been kind of scrambling from the point in time where players could declare for the NFL draft or decide if they're going to transfer. So for the last 2 or 3 months, they didn't even know who they had coming back themselves. So it's kind of been a gray area for them. They're not allowed also to get out and recruit. So if they do lose somebody, they're going to probably go to the transfer portal. And some coaches have told me, if you're in need of a position player, what would you rather have, a high school player who you don't know necessarily about, or a transfer player who's already played 2 years? So
right,
high school players again get kind of screwed there.
Let's start here. Go ahead, Dan. I'm sorry.
I was about to say that goes into the whole transfer portal. Now that the NCAA has come across and said, listen, you're not going to lose that year of eligibility across the board. Now, obviously, some of the conferences still have to vote on how interconference transfers, and I believe that vote's coming up here in the next couple of weeks. But you're right, there's so much uncertainty of how they fill those rosters and what that looks for the high school recruiting process.
Yeah, so most of the high school kids right now are really gearing themselves up for the summer camps, and the colleges are also making sure that they're advertising their camps and inviting kids to their camps and making sure to get them on campus to look at them.
Chris, let's go ahead and start talking about Central Florida here. Obviously, that's your niche there at the Orlando Sentinel there with Varsity Sports. Let's talk about some local players that you're watching right now here coming out here in the 2021 season, 2022 graduates that will be coming up here later this year. Tell us what you've got here in North Central Florida, or the Central Florida area.
We do our Super 60 rankings, as you guys probably have seen, and that's can be argued about or whatever, because it's never perfect science, but it's a pretty good class, the 2022 class, and we're really top loaded with quality players. But what has really stood out to me is the defensive linemen. there are so many quality defensive linemen out there now that didn't really used to be that way. And I've talked to several coaches. They don't know necessarily the answer. They think maybe it's just a trend and that's how things go. Some years it's a bunch of quarterbacks, which I actually, we don't see a lot of quarterbacks from here going on. But that's what really jumps out at me. The top D lineman right now is probably Nick Campbell at Lake Mineola. He's got a ton of offers, got good size and good quickness, and he's going to have a big decision coming up because there's all kinds of schools that want him to come play for them.
You know,
obviously Lake Mineola, the state runner-up last year, going into the state championships there in 2021. He's got a lot of experience. He got a lot of exposure up there in Tallahassee. What schools are looking at him right now?
Yeah, Tallahassee, FSU, they're really on him hard, and he seems to like FSU. Then all the state schools are on him. There's bigger schools outside the state on him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he went to FSU. I haven't talked to Nick about it here recently, but if he did go to FSU, I don't think it would be a big surprise, but it would be a big win for them.
No question. He's going to benefit anybody's program when he finally shows up at the campus. So that's great.
And what's really unique about that, Chris, is we're seeing a good number of them for 2022, but we're seeing even more for 2023 and 2024.
Yeah,
on both offense and defensive linemen.
And those kids at Osceola, Derek LeBlanc and John Walker being one of the top 25 kids in the country as a defensive tackle at Osceola, and he'll be coming up in next year's senior class. That kid is just a monster, and everybody loves him.
Now, obviously, these kids playing on these teams, again, Osceola, another state runner-up last year, so they're very well benefiting these programs that actually played in the state championship game last year. Tell us somebody else here in Central Florida that's really making a statement for themselves right now.
Well, one of the question marks, actually, not necessarily a big statement, but you guys know Terrence Gibbs, running back at Winter Park, who came over from Masters Academy. And one of the practices last year, tore his ACL, out for the season, still rehabbing, so he's got no spring. And right now we're trying to figure out if, as Terrence is trying to figure out as well, if he'll be ready for fall season. So he could miss a little bit of the fall. They do have a sophomore running back, Amaris Shaw, who can step in. And if those guys are both healthy, that's an incredible backfield at Winter Park. But
and two different types of running back, Chris. I mean, Terrence Gibb is that prototypical type runner, whereas Amaris Shaw is that speedy scat kind of guy that can get open in the flat and the passing routes as well.
Right. I remember Terrence's sophomore, I think it was his sophomore season, watching him at Masters. He carried 3 or 4 guys about 5-10 yards to make a first down. That guy is strong. He's very strong.
Yeah, and he was getting that, he was getting D1 offers in his freshman year, after his freshman year. So, we're all hoping he's going to make it back, because he's one of those different makers that we're going to definitely have our eye on here in this season.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Let's go right now, talk a little bit about some top underclassmen that, Dan mentioned here, Chris, about some 23, 24 graduates that are coming out right now. You just mentioned a couple from Osceola that we'll be watching in the next couple of years as well. Who else really stands out when you guys look at film and when you guys see stats coming up here for Orlando here in this area?
Yeah, like Dan said, there's a lot of them already making their mark at their high schools. CJ Baxter at Edgewater, he's going to be a running back or a linebacker in college. Most people like him at linebacker. He's been doing his thing since his freshman year, and he's already committed to FSU. A very, very early commit, but he's on the block for them. Obviously, he could change his mind, but he's committed to FSU, and it really depends on where they want to use him. But right now, he's looking like a top linebacker.
Oh, really? They're going to stay on the defensive side with him on that?
I'm not sure how they'll go with him, but he played a lot of linebacker last year, and Coach Duke decided to kind of mix it up with some of his running backs. So obviously it benefited Edgewater, and they were lacking a little bit on the defensive side because they had lost a couple of guys. But they were still good defensively, though, obviously.
Yeah, and that's one program that we've got our eye on here for the spring, because you're talking about a lot of top receiver talent that graduated, a couple of great defensive players for Edgewater, and for them to make it to the state championship game 2 years straight, there's a couple big question marks. We're looking to see how Edgewater answers those questions going into the season.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They're losing almost their whole defensive line. Linebackers like Troutman, who's going to Miami. There's also some defensive backs, like you said. The receivers with Chris Leary going to Alabama. They just have a lot of talent the last couple of years, so it'll be interesting to see how they replace that.
You know, a lot of attention right now. I actually went out to the Apopka practice the other day. It's Caven Call. That kid going into his junior year is a grown man and very impressive coming off the ball. And he's had an outstanding career so far as a young person. It's going to be very interesting to see how he carries that into his junior and senior year as well.
Yeah, Apopka defense, as usual, will be one to reckon with. Travion Barnes right now is our number one player in the senior class. And then Caven obviously could be number one in that senior class next year. So defensively, Apopka's back where they usually are.
Funny how Forrest goes to an Apopka practice, though, right? I mean, that's where he graduated from. So he's going to go to, of course, to go to Apopka practice.
Hey, I got to check on my Blue Darters to see how they're looking.
The interesting thing about Apopka too is that the quarterback who was at Seminole last year, Timmy McLean, who's at USF now, his brother was at Seminole, but he's transferred to Apopka, so he's going to be running that offense at Apopka this year. Andrew McLean, and it's going to be interesting to see how well he does with that.
Yeah, from what we understand and from what I've heard from Dan lately, the Apopka's now kind of gone away from that wing T kind of standard running offense to now, with Andrew being there, a more of a widespread offense. Have you heard any more about that?
I haven't necessarily heard that they might spread it out, but I think Andrew could fit into the same role that some of the kids that we've seen in the past with Apopka. And I think his passing game is certainly something that he'll have to prove, and he's probably doing so in practice right now. I haven't been to Apopka practice, but either way, if they have to resort to what they've always done, I think Andrew McLean would be just the guy.
I agree, and that was really a lot of his activity at Seminole last year was in their Wildcat formation, so very similar to the single wing, and I agree. I don't know if they abandon the single wing altogether. It's just going to be very interesting to finally have a guy that is in that quarterback slot that can put the ball down the field. I mean, you know, Lohman did a wonderful job, but he still wasn't a quarterback. He wasn't a guy that you could throw 15, 20 times a game if you needed to.
Yeah, Jaquan, obviously an athlete, goes to App State as a receiver. The Birch kid before him went to Oregon. Now that didn't pan out, but he went to Oregon as a receiver, and these guys were quarterbacks. They just need athletes to run quarterback at Apopka.
Yeah, no question about it. They've got a great offensive scheme already set up over there, so it's going to be interesting to see how Andrew fits in there in Blue Darter territory. No question about that.
We're going to Haggerty Huskies, and you're watching the Florida Gridiron Report
on Varsity Sports Network.
The best part of my job is helping people realize not only their dreams, but also their potential. My name is Dan LaForest, and I am a wealth advisor with Security Financial Management. No matter how good you may be at a skill, it's always important to have a coach to help you refine those skills and game plan for the next challenge. Helping clients realize the process will give them the confidence of knowing that we have taken the appropriate steps to protect themselves and their families.
This is Sports Thread, and this is the new free Sports Thread app, changing recruiting forever.
Once again, here we go. Know the name, know the flow.
The first social network made for athletes, where you can show your talent.
Thought I was weak, huh? You ain't see the work I put in all week, huh?
And where you can be seen by athletes, fans, and coaches nationwide. Upload all your stats to the app. Get exposure to college coaches. Get clout. And get certified with a check mark that will change your life. Join the squad. Download the Sports Thread app today. Sports Thread, it's always free.
Chris, let's go back a little bit here now. Let's talk about some new coaching changes. That's been a big story here in the Orlando area. Some big names coming in to coach. Tell us what you've got so far here from the Orlando Sentinel on that.
Well, I was thinking there were like 10 or so. I was going to talk about them on the show today, but as I got counting, I've got 18 new coaches in the area.
Wow.
If you count Travis Roland, who you're going to have on later, it's crazy the number of coaches. And it'd be nice if we could get some stability, some continuity with some of these coaches, because I think the kids really benefit. It'll keep the transfers down. But I mean, right now, some of these programs are having troubles establishing themselves. And then we've got 2 new high schools, Lake Buena Vista and Horizon. Dennis Thomas is at Horizon and he was at Lyman. So he's got a little bit of experience there. The most experienced guy is Kennard Lang, the former Miami player and an NFL player at Evans High. So he's coming back. He coached at Jones before. He coached at Wekiva before, then went to FIU. So now he's back at Evans, where he graduated high school, actually.
Yeah, then you've got Joe Renzi that comes into Lake Buena Vista. You've got Jermel Jones, who used to be at Masters Academy, comes into Lyman. You've got Greg Ordierno, who has coached under Andy Johnson at Freedom and at Boone, now the new head coach at Oviedo, who is desperately looking for some stability in that program. So you're right, there's a number. And then all of a sudden now we have Osceola come open, which probably is one of the most surprising moves that we've seen in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, that was a surprising move. Doug decided to do so just because of personal reasons. And it was kind of a shock, but yet I'm not sure what they're going to do, whether they hire from within. They are opening up the job to a broad search. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Doug he was an established guy, obviously 3 state championship games he made it to. They never won one, but like he told me, that doesn't define you as a coach. And at least he made it there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Chris, I'm going to ask you a question that's been asked a lot here on the Gridiron Report in the past episodes. How important, you mentioned Kennard Lang going back to his old alma mater to coach there. You talk about stability in some of these high schools based on not having it. How important is it for a former athlete like that graduated there to come back and coach at their alma mater that's had the experience like that? Do you think that's going to make a difference as far as stability there at the high school level?
I certainly hope so. And I think it gives a guy like Kennard more of like motivation to get that program off and running off the ground that they've struggled since Gierke left. And he really seems motivated. He's a good guy and the players like him. I've talked to some of the players that are really happy. And some of those guys were talking about transferring before Lang was hired. And now they feel better. They're going to stay. And, Kennard can really put a footprint on that program. And if he stays, then that could be a job for a long time that actually becomes coveted, because there are athletes galore in that Evans School District, as we saw some of them end up transferring to Edgewater and they were in the state championship game.
It's funny because Evans really hasn't had a winning season since, believe it or not, Chip Gierke left, not to mention going back to the Bill Gierke days, right? When I played at Apopka. But, Evans is that foundation type school. And that was one of the things that I've been talking about in the past is I want to see some more of the traditional powerhouses get back to where they used to be. And I think Kennard Lang has got a heck of an opportunity to get Evans back on that platform. And it's going to be very interesting to see how the spring goes for him and then how he carries them through the summer as well.
Yeah, and keeping those Evans kids home is the key. Like, you can't have like Tommy Hill and Eric Doctor transferring out of your district, because that really obviously throws a wrench into what you're trying to do. But if he can keep those guys, and just like after Gierke had left Evans, Chip Gierke, we had 5 guys, I think, in our top 20 who were Evans players, but did not play for Evans. Woody Barrett, Daquan Newkirk, there were a lot of them. 5 guys in one class who went on to be, top caliber talent that it's unimaginable what they would have done under Chip at Evans High.
No question about it. Chris, I'm going to throw you. Dan, you got any more questions or anything for Chris?
Yeah, actually, one of the things that I wanted to talk with Chris about is how is the name, image, and likeness thing that's happening in college now? How is that affecting recruiting at the high school level?
The college coaches are going to have to be careful with that because they can't use it as a recruiting tool, but it's going to be done. So how they do it and how they stay within the guidelines of the rules is going to be interesting. That's another NCAA violation that we can see happening in the future. But I'm not really sure if name, image, and likeness is that big a deal to the whole recruiting picture. Now, when you're talking about their big upper echelon kids who are going to be like a poster child for your program, then yeah, he'll get name, image, and likeness deals and things like that. But the other guys, what are they going to benefit out of it? So I think there's more being made out of it than actually will really transpire. Yes, the key performers and the All-Americans and guys like that, they're going to definitely get their money, so to speak. But there's like 100 guys on a football team. They're all not going to be selling cars or something.
And that's one thing. And that's one thing I've had a problem with is even at the college level. If you're going to give a quarterback a deal with the local BMW outfit, his offensive line, are you going to throw them a bone because these guys are the reason you're even successful? And how do you spread that around? And I think it creates a bigger problem. Now, if it gets down to jersey sales, going back to when Tim Tebow played at Florida, if you were going to have a Tim Tebow jersey that was going to sell nationwide, then I think that's more effective. But you're right. If Nick Saban comes down here and says, hey, by the way, we'll be able to get you $100,000 contract with Nick Saban Mercedes up in Alabama. Yeah, that's an influence on recruiting.
It is, and obviously an obvious recruiting violation right there. But like you said, like the offensive line, is there going to be animosity on the team for these guys who actually get paid for their name, image, and likeness? So there's a fine balance. I'm sure some schools will do it well, and some obviously will not.
Well, I see it, as a financial advisor, I see the bigger problem is these kids understanding the tax consequences because now they're earners. And how much get into problems because of the fact they got a check. And oh, I didn't know kind of a thing where that's unforgivable. So there's so many factors that have to be played and looked out into this.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I was talking to Clinton Dix one time, the safety at Dr. Phillips who played at Alabama and in the NFL. His first NFL paycheck got a signing bonus. Everybody's writing his signing bonus was this much. Well, when he got the signing bonus, it was half.
That's exactly right.
Because everything was taken out already.
Yeah.
No question about it. Honestly, I think the NCAA has opened a can of worms here that they're not going to be able to close for a while, and it's going to cause a lot of issues. So hopefully they'll be able to figure out, and I hope it doesn't put a stain on college sports anywhere across the way, but it's going to be something that we're going to have to weed ourselves through. So hopefully that'll work. Chris, one more thing before we go. I'm going to put you on the spot. The way too early top teams here that you're going to see for high school football here in Orlando come out here in 2021.
Well, I don't think I can rank them, but the top 5 I would say are Osceola, despite the fact that Nick's gone. West Orange, look out for West Orange because this is a loaded team. I think Coach Granado does a great job over there. And then you got your usuals, Jones, Apopka. Edgewater, I'm kind of iffy on. I'm not sure what they can put together, but Coach Dukes he's got a great staff over there. See what they can do. And then Sanford Seminole. And never count those guys out.
Yeah, no question. Coach Lodge has got it going over there, no doubt.
What are some of the next level teams that you're excited to see them actually hit the field where you think they're going to be a little bit better than they've been in the past?
I think Boone kind of took that step last year, and they're going to be good again. Timber Creek, I think they're right there, definitely. I'd like to see what happens with Evans because they have some talent And depending on what Kennard can do in that first season, it could be interesting. But I'm not sure beyond that. The smaller schools like Foundation, they'll definitely be another state contender. And I'm probably leaving somebody out, I'm sure I always do, but that's about where I'm looking.
Well, no doubt you covered everything with us here tonight, Chris. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Florida Gridiron Report. Chris Hayes from the Orlando Sentinel Varsity Sports section there for high school sports. Make sure to check in with the Orlando Sentinel every day. Chris has got a lot of good stuff coming out here for high school sports. And Chris, thank you so much for joining us here tonight.
My pleasure. And I should say Winter Park as well. Winter Park's going to be a good one.
Yeah, throw that one in there. You better.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be strong this year.
I don't want Shiflett on me.
Yeah, there you go. Chris Hayes, ladies and gentlemen, from the Orlando Sentinel. Again, Chris, thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more of the Florida Gridiron Report here on the Varsity Sports Network.
The Florida Gridiron Report is brought to you by Security Financial Management, Gators Dockside Grill, the A-Team with Charles Ruttenberg Realty, and Sports Thread.
The best part of my job is helping people realize not only their dreams, but also their potential. My name is Dan LaForest, and I am a wealth advisor with Security Financial Management. No matter how good you may be at a skill, it's always important to have a coach to help you refine those skills and game plan for the next challenge. Helping clients realize the process will give them the confidence of knowing that we have taken the appropriate steps to protect themselves and their families.
Why did the golfer wear 2 pairs of pants? In case he got a hole in one.
Now that's what I call a rib tickler. And here's something else you'll get a kick out of. Come into Gators Dockside during Rib Fest and enjoy delicious fall-off-the-bone ribs, char-grilled to order in one of 5 amazing flavors. For wings, seafood, sports, and ribs, you know where to go. It's Rib Fest at Gators Dockside. Meet me at the dock.
Hi, I'm Angel Crowson, and I'm with the A-Team of Charles Ruttenberg Realty. We're located in delightful downtown DeLand, and we service all of Central Florida. Our team is here to serve you for all of your real estate needs, whether you're buying, selling, or looking to invest. There is no time like the present to sell your existing home and buy your new one with the A-Team. Call me, Angel Crowson, so the A-Team can deliver your dream today.
This is Sports Thread, and this is the new free Sports Thread app, changing recruiting forever.
Once again, here we go. Know the name, know the flow.
The first social network made for athletes, where you can show your talent.
Thought I was weak, huh? You ain't see the work I put in all week, huh?
And where you can be seen by athletes, fans, and coaches nationwide. Upload all your stats to the app. Get exposure to college coaches. Get clout. And get certified with a check mark that will change your life. Join the squad. Download the Sports Thread app today. Sports Thread, it's always free.
Welcome back, everybody, here to the Florida Gridiron Report here on the Varsity Sports Network. Bobby Latmore, Dan LaForest, and joined by the new head coach there from the Mainland Buccaneers, Travis Roland. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. But I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to tell you something. A couple episodes ago, we had Chris Boyle from the Daytona Beach News Journal on. He called he called you being the new head coach at Mainland. So next time you see Chris, you walk up and give him a fist pump because he called this. He said, here's a great hire for somebody coming home, Travis Roland coming back to Mainland and coaching in his alma mater. Tell us a little bit about how this feels for you right now here in 2021.
It's quite surreal, a bittersweet on one end because I respect everything that Flagler Palm Coast High School has ever done for me. Like I've been telling people this whole way through, if not for Flagler Palm Coast High School, Mainland High School wouldn't have faith that one of its own sons could come back and do a good job and uphold the tradition that's there. So forever grateful to, Mr. Sims, who was my first principal, and Coach Dallas for giving me an opportunity in that community for embracing me. And I think now just being able to come back home, it's been an amazing feeling, just some of the parents that pick up their kids in the parking lot, they're hunking and making me feel like I'm somebody important. And I'm just glad, that they believe in me and believe in the vision that we're trying to, continue at Mainland and also at the same time, bring my vision into it, because, I worked for Coach Wilson and for Coach Moranto when I was there. And I think now, I have to try to take, lessons from both of them and do the best that I can and be ready to get things going, with my vision for Mainland High School.
Coach, one of the topics that we've had here on the Gridiron Report here the last several weeks is the ability to have an alumni come back and sit on that throne, right? What does it mean to you, for you, to be back in Daytona Beach as the guy at Daytona Beach Mainland?
Well, I think that it's an honor. Number one, as I told the kids, it's not your right to put on that gold dome. It's a privilege, and I think that for me, I understand, because I was in the position as a player, when the playoff streak was in the middle of itself, having cousins and my brother played there. I think that just knowing the seat that I'm in, I think that it means a lot to me. So, losses I may take a little more personal, as people have told me, I've gotten a lot grayer over the last 4 years since I've become a head coach. And I think now, with it, not because of the pressure of it, because pressure, as I always say, is relative. That's in the eye of the beholder. I think because of the love that I have for Mainland High School, I think that's where, the stressors will come, because I know what we're trying to uphold and what we're trying to build upon and continue a legacy of. So, it's an amazing feeling. I can't tell you guys enough. I think that, because I was in transition for a while, it was hard to kind of to intake. The first day of spring practice, we didn't actually have practice, but because I knew that FPC was about to start practice and I wasn't going to be out there, I texted my wife and my sister, and I was like, man, it just hit me. I'm really the head coach of Mainland High School. And it was like, wow, this is amazing. I played there, I was an assistant coach there, and now I'm getting my opportunity to be the head football coach there. And so it's been an amazing thing. I was a head coach of a Pop Warner team, which Daytona Beach Bucks, which is our feeder program. So now to actually have the big brother to be the head of that, it's an amazing feeling.
Coach, let's go back to FPC a little bit. You've had a great, successful career there at FPC, and props to you for giving your accolades to all the people that were there and stuff like that. Just a wonderful experience there. What did you learn at FPC that you're now going to bring back to Mainland as the head guy? Because you've had the head coaching experience in a very, very big program, which is the top of the line 8A high schools. Now you come back down a couple classifications now for this year here, but you got a lot of experience up there in that 8A classification. What are you bringing back down to Mainland this year?
Well, it's funny. You guys talked about it. I think you guys were talking about Coach Ordiano at Oviedo, and you were talking about their JV, how the record their JV had and how well they played. And I think for me, one of the biggest things FPC taught me was player development. I think that sometimes, we get caught up in only coaching our older guys and JV's over here and Varsity's over here, however it may be. I think the biggest thing for me, because the smallest senior class we had may have been 20, 23, 24 kids. So we were 25, 30. One year was 30. 28. The 2019 class was 35 seniors. I never forget senior nights like it took an hour. And so I think the biggest thing was player development. After the class 2019 graduate, we lost 10 starters on defense. 10. We returned one guy in that 2019 season. But we were still able, we only gave up 15 points a game, and we were still right there for district title and things like that. So I think the biggest part for me is player development and understanding that, even on the 6A level where you're going to still have a 85 to 105 type of player program, you got to develop those young guys and you got to give them the same coaching effort that you give the older guys, because if you don't, when it's their turn, they won't be prepared to step up for you. And so that's one of the biggest things for me that I learned at FPC was player development. And that's why I think, they're going to have a good year, because there's some kids there that are coming up from the JV program that lost one game because we went for two. And so I think that's going to be one of the biggest lessons I've learned, just getting kids ready to play early.
Coach, you talked about scheduling. What are some of the games that the Buccaneers are looking forward to looking at the 2021 season?
Well, the schedule that Coach Wilson left, every one of them. I can tell you that. I mean, you're talking about week one, we start with our longtime rival with DeLand. Then week two, he and I finally got it worked out to play FPC in Mainland, and so I think some calls will be known, by virtue of none of the lingo changing from both schools. And then I think week three we play Spruce Creek. who I think is one of the better teams in all of 7A. I'm excited about them for our area. I think our area sometimes doesn't always get the respect that we deserve. So I think that, Spruce Creek's going to have a phenomenal football team, one of the biggest offensive lines you're going to see across the state. Week 4, we play the state finalists, Lake Mineola. Week 5, I think that we play Sanford Seminole, I think it is. It's our schedule's insane.
Man, we may have the VSN Daytona channel be the Mainland channel coming up. You got every week.
You very well could.
Yeah, and every one of them's at the stadium.
That's even better.
Yeah. So he did do me a favor with the home games.
There you go.
But and so we have Seabreeze earlier in the year, and then I know we have a bye week. I'm missing somebody earlier. We have a bye week, and then we play Jones, and then we play South Lake, New Smyrna, and then Bowles High School. So, there, you got a state championship coach and Coach Wilkinson, who's going to be prepared and have his kids ready to play all the time. You got, state champion bowls or state finals. I can't remember. Did Bowles win it?
No, they were runner-up last year.
Yeah, they were runner-up last year for a second year in a row. So, thank God the Hayden Schwartz kid is going number 1 because he was an animal on the football field. Jesus. But just, it's a crazy schedule. But the kid, that's what our program's built off of. We love challenges. We love being counted out, and so I think that, the challenge that everybody's giving us about our district being tough, we welcome that. That's a part of the attitude. And that's why I told the kids, we have to continue to play that swag and attitude as if we are Mainland, because in this state, in the Southeast, in this country, Mainland high school, people know that, they're going to be for a football game, and then we're going to play physical and play fast. So it's going to be an exciting football season. I'm excited for it. We got some work to do. Got a young ball club, but we're excited. Kids are working really hard. They responded well, and so we're just excited about the opportunities that are in front of us.
Coach, coming into the spring this year, obviously you're just walking into the program and Coach Wilson left. And of course you coach with Coach Wilson. You have a lot of respect for him.
Yep, absolutely.
He left you a very good legacy here at Mainland, obviously with some kids. Tell us a little bit about some of the top performers that we're going to see here in 2021, both on both offense and defense coming up here for Mainland.
Everybody knows because he had big games against Seminole. We got a freshman wide receiver, James Randall, 6'1", 175 pounds. He can flat out fly, catches everything. Just a phenomenal athlete, wide receiver. Then we've got, our running back that's got some offers. Isaiah Gordon, 6'2", 210 pounds, just placed, I think he finished 9th or 10th in the shot put at the state championships. We have Isaiah Morrison, who's blowing up on the recruiting circuit, defensive lineman, 6'2", 265 pounds, also plays running back. Super thick athletic kid. Yeah, he's a load, man. He's 370, max bench press kid, 500 plus in the squat. Just a super impressive kid. And the best part about Morrison and Isaiah Gordon, they both are 3.8 and higher GPA kids. We've got a 6'3" receiver, Nick Antoine, 4.4 GPA. We've got a cornerback, Caleb Booby Evans. Caleb is almost called a Booby Miles, shockingly enough. Caleb Evans, 5'9", 4.3 40 kid. He ran a 4.3 electronic 40 that had Twitter going crazy a little bit. And so we got some explosive kids. I can tell you, and let me not forget our do everything quarterback, free safety, Jonathan Campbell. He's one of your throwback type of kids, plays both sides of the ball. Baseball player, was our ace on our baseball team this year. Also a basketball player, just a phenomenal kid, another 3.4 GPA kid. And then we've got an offensive lineman, Jake Fesden, 6'4", 270. He's one of the 2 returners, along with Javier Ortiz. And then I'm going to tell you guys right now, there's a young man named Ajay Harrell that is a sophomore, 6'1", 180. And when I tell you guys he is explosive at wide receiver, he is explosive. So I love our wide receiver core. I think they're going to be amazing. And then, we've got some great position players, that are going to be key for us. I think just developing our offensive line, defensive lines are going to be the big thing. We've got some main calls on both sides, but I think we got to develop our young guys. And and again, our secondary, I'm forgetting the kid that moved back, Jordan Porter. made first team all area from South Carolina, played for Somerville. You guys are familiar with that area. And he was the first team all region kid there. So we're excited about the secondary that we have and the kids that are, that are at our school that are just doing amazing. They're working hard. So we're excited, and I say I get to naming names. I'll probably forget some guys and have some mamas and daddies mad at me. But it's hard to know. I'm excited about these kids, man. They work really hard. And like I say, most of them are 3.5, 3.8 GPA kids. So that's one of the best parts about it.
The best part of my job is helping people realize not only their dreams, but also their potential. My name is Dan LaForest, and I am a wealth advisor with Security Financial Management. No matter how good you may be at a skill, it's always important to have a coach to help you refine those skills and game plan for the next challenge. Helping clients realize the process will give them the confidence of knowing that we have taken the appropriate steps to protect themselves and their families.
Why did the golfer wear 2 pairs of pants? In case he got a hole in one.
Now that's what I call a rib tickler. And here's something else you'll get a kick out of. Come into Gators Dockside during Rib Fest and enjoy delicious fall off the bone ribs, char grilled to order in one of 5 amazing flavors. For wings, seafood, sports, and ribs, you know where to go. It's Rib Fest at Gators Dockside. Meet me at the dock.
Hi, I'm Angel Crowson, and I'm with the A-Team of Charles Ruttenberg Realty. We're located in delightful downtown DeLand, and we service all of Central Florida. Our team is here to serve you for all of your real estate needs, whether you're buying, selling, or looking to invest. There is no time like the present to sell your existing home and buy your new one with the A-Team. Call me, Angel Crowson, so the A-Team can deliver your dream today.
This is Sports Thread, and this is the new free Sports Thread app, changing recruiting forever.
Once again, here we go. Know the name, know the flow.
The first social network made for athletes, where you can show your talent.
Thought I was weak, huh? You ain't see the work I put in all week, huh?
And where you can be seen by athletes, fans, and coaches nationwide. Upload all your stats to the app. Get exposure to college coaches. Get clout. And get certified with a check mark that will change your life. Join the squad. Download the Sports Thread app today. Sports Thread, it's always free.
Let's go have a little fun. Let's talk about the district that you're in this next year. I know we talked a little bit about your schedule right now.
Elephant in the room.
Man, did you get thrown in the fire coming in this year, didn't you?
Oh, absolutely. So what's funny is when I saw the district when they came out, I'm obviously at FBC, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, that is a district right there. I was like, okay, because I'm one of those in district, I've been in Region 188, and I'm like, there's nothing tougher than that outside of back in 2015 and 16 when we were stuck in a region with Central, Carroll City, and Northwestern.
Right.
This Region 188, I don't care. Everybody says that's the toughest region in the state. And team for team, I'll put them up with anybody. And then this district came out, and I was like, man, thank God that's not me. Well, here we are now, right? But full respect. Coach Elijah Williams is an amazing head football coach. I think it's Brinson. He's an amazing, head football coach. I have not met the new guy at Southlake yet. I haven't had that pleasure to meet him, but I'm sure if he's been given a head job in the state of Florida in Lake County, he must be a pretty good football coach. And then obviously Coach Wilkinson, Mr. 3 Rings himself, has done a phenomenal job, coaching football. So, we're excited. Like I said, we're excited about it. The Mainland kid, though, the makeup of a Mainland kid, they love that challenge because they know
right.
that people from the outside in are already counting them out and saying, oh, you guys don't have that cake district that you've had all those years. Let's see how you do now. And so I think that, our kids hear that noise and that fuels them. So those times when we're conditioning in the summer or we're in the weight room lifting, they know that, okay, everybody's expecting us to lose to Jones, to lose to Lake Minneola because they were state finalists, one last year, one 2 years ago. And right. So it's going to be some barn burn. It's going to be some great football games.
Not to mention your non-district games, and you brought up. I mean, you're gonna bring in the state champions of Sanford Seminole coming to Daytona Beach.
Yep.
I mean, And those guys look loaded coming back.
Yep.
Yep.
It's, I can tell you this. I said my prayers to God, and I'm so thankful that I don't have to game plan for Timmy McClain ever again.
You've had him a couple years. It almost felt like he was always there. I mean, he never left.
We played him 3 straight years at a Flagler Palm Coast, and to see, his development over the course of those 3 years was phenomenal. I think that they bring back, some really good pieces on defense. They bring, they bring back, I think 3 or 4 offensive linemen. I think they get the kids from Oviedo to come over and play quarterback, and
they got two solid returning running backs.
Yeah.
So Wack for one, you got to go for
Wack
2
is one of them. I forget the other one's name. So yeah, they're going to be a solid football team. And that's why I said the best part about it, sometimes, and you guys know how things have changed from when you guys played and coached, and even from when I played. Kids' attention span now, isn't always the greatest, but I think with our schedule, their attention will always be commanded. So I'm happy about that, because I don't have to say, hey, get up for this week or don't lose focus. I think now with how our schedule is, I think that the kids are going to always be locked in and loaded and ready to go, because they know that every time they step on the football field, they can be beat. And so it's going to be fun. Like I said, and I'm thankful for the non-district games, because again, if you happen to lose a couple and you don't win your district, at least you win enough of them, you'll be a high seed in the playoffs.
Build up the points, absolutely.
So that that's I think we're in a great position. It's going to be some great football games. I think that even if you were to beat Jones and Lake Minneola and South Lake and New Smyrna, I think you're going to face 1 or 2 of them again in the playoffs, no matter what.
Absolutely.
Right.
So they'll win that first round as well. No question about it. You'll come back around and probably see them again.
Yep.
Coach, I'm going to ask you this one question. As a former player there at Mainland, you coached there at Mainland, assistant coach, went away and got your head coaching experience. How important of it is that to bring back traditions that you played with there at your alma mater when you're coaching here this year?
I think tradition is awesome. It has to be brought back. It has to remain. I told the kids this in the parents in the parent meeting. I said, there's things I'm going to take from Coach Moranto that we've done. There's things from Coach Wilson I'm going to take, and I'm going to mesh them and make them my own. But when it comes to our buck jacks before a game, we're going to continue to do those. When it comes to our war cry, which is our deep down in the valley chant that we do pregame, you're going to hear that. I would be a terrible person to take those things away, because that's the Mainland tradition. Those are things that were started back in the 90s. When this playoff run was started, and those are traditions that I hope my nephew, who's in 1st grade, I have a nephew in 7th grade right now, a nephew in 1st grade. I hope those same chants are still there. It's like Hoka Hey, like that started with Coach Darlington, and it's still there. I mean, that's not going to change. I think that Rock Boys from Miami Central, that's going to be there even when Coach Roland Smith and his legendary self moves on one day. Those things are going to still be there. I'm not sure if Niceville's team still walks down those steps in that gorgeous stadium.
Oh, they do. They do.
So those traditions those are things that we will always have at Mainland. We will always break down Buck pride. So those traditions will always remain. I think my biggest thing is making sure the kids understand why we're doing them. In today's society of kids wanting to kind of taunt the other team, I have to make sure they understand that war cry is not for us to stare the other team down. That war cry, when we do that deep down in the valley, I heard a great voice. It was a mighty, mighty buck. That's for us to look each other in the eyes and say, hey, man, deep down in this valley, like when I heard that voice, it was a buck. It wasn't anybody else. It was just these bucks in this valley. So I think that it's important they understand why those chants were created, and it definitely will be ingrained in their brain to understand they're playing for those uncles that played in the 90s and the early 2000s and this last generation that couldn't get it done. We're playing for those guys to get it done.
Well, Coach, I tell you what, it's an honor to have you on with us tonight. It's been a pleasure. It's so much fun. FPC lost a good one, but Mainland gained a great one. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Man, it's going to be so much fun to watch you and how you progress this year with Mainland and the future that you're going to bring to the Buccaneer Nation that's coming up over there in Daytona. So congratulations. We look forward to seeing you here in 2021.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Anything you guys ever need from myself or our program, we will do everything we can to open our doors when they be. And thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Coach, you have a great night. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more of the Florida Gridiron Report here on the Varsity Sports Network. Don't go anywhere.
We're the Winter Park Wildcats, and you're watching Florida Gridiron Report on Varsity Sports Network.
This is Sports Thread, and this is the new free Sports Thread app, changing recruiting forever.
Once again, here we go. Know the name, know the flow.
The first social network made for athletes, where you can show your talent.
Thought I was weak, huh? You ain't see the work I put in all week, huh?
And where you can be seen by athletes, fans, and coaches nationwide. Upload all your stats to the app. Get exposure to college coaches, get clout, and get certified with a check mark that will change your life. Join the squad. Download the Sports Thread app today. Sports Thread, it's always free.
Welcome back, everybody, here to the Varsity Sports Network. Bobby Lattimore joined by Dan LaForest, and you could not – the other two missed out tonight, Dan, because great interviews. Chris Hayes from the Orlando Sentinel Varsity Sports section there, if we're talking about prep sports, especially high school football here in Orlando, and then the new head coach for the Mainland Buccaneers, Travis Roland. What an inspiration this guy is going to bring back at his alma mater. Mainland is going to be something to reckon with. They have been. They've got the streak going on with the most playoff appearances here in the state of Florida over the past since 1990 already. He's going to be able. I think he's going to be able to keep that going here with the Buccaneer Nation. And I'll tell you what a great time we had with him.
No, and Chris Hayes is so loved and respected here in the Central Florida. You know you've made it when the kids start tagging you in their tweets, right? And it's Bluestein, it's Dwight Thomas, and it's also Chris Hayes. And he's made such a wonderful difference in the care that he writes his articles on a lot of local student athletes here in Central Florida.
Coach Roland, I mean, how much fun did we have with that? Was that not fun?
How about the energy he's
got?
How about the excitement he has for being back home? And, you know, we talked about at the beginning of the show, you got to see it during that interview. This guy is ready to be the leader of the Mainland Buccaneers and bringing that Buccaneer pride to the highest level of what it used to be doing. And outstanding coaching in the past, outstanding players. And Coach Roland really looks forward to continuing that tradition.
We're going to have Mainland as one of our spring games, May 28th, here on the Varsity Sports Network. Our VSN Daytona channel will cover the Mainland University game here in the spring. So it's going to be fun because Coach Kells over there, Brian Kells, head coach at University, moving down to 7A this year, has a new program set up for them as far as a new classification to where they feel they'll do well in that. And then Coach, Roland at Mainland moving in their district. That's just absolute, just a gauntlet of teams coming up here in 2021, where he's going to be playing teams from Orlando and teams from Lake County, Dan, that are going to be a I mean, as I mentioned during the interview, this could be the Mainland channel, coming up, because every week is going to be one of the top games.
They're going to be playing somebody relevant. And that's something that you guys need to keep an eye out for, because we, as Varsity Sports Network, are going to start releasing our spring games. And we'll be announcing that on the @VSN Orlando on Twitter and @VSN Daytona. So make sure you're following us and keeping up with what's going on.
No question about it. Make sure you check in with Sports Thread as well. That's our new social media platform that we'll be working with coming up here in 2021. We're very excited for that partnership as well. But Dan, man, what a great show tonight. It's just us two, so I'm tired, man. We're all ready to go.
That's too much work for us, Bob. We got to bring the
I know. I mean, we got to get somebody else on here to kind of take the brunt of some of this from us, don't we?
I'm looking forward to each and every episode. It just seems like we keep getting the better and better guests, and everybody has been wonderful contributing to this show, and it's made it the success that it's been.
No question about it. So, Dan, thank you so much for joining us tonight and kicking it off with me. The dynamic duo, the A-Team, did it again tonight, so appreciate all your help with everything. But we're going to call it a night. For Dan, I'm Bobby Lattimore. We're going to call it a night here. And make sure you turn in next week here for more Florida Gridiron Report here on the Varsity Sports Network.